Welcome back to ABCGH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the dramatic aftermath of a shocking incident that has rocked Port Charles to its core. The recent events surrounding Kristina Davis have set in motion a chain reaction that threatens to destroy multiple lives and relationships. Let's dive deep into this unfolding tragedy and explore the far-reaching consequences that await our beloved characters. The devastating aftermath. The tension between Lucky Spencer and Elizabeth Baldwin has reached a breaking point at Port Charles General Hospital. As paramedics rushed to keep Lucky away from the crash scene, his desperate screams for Elizabeth echoed through the air, revealing the depth of his concern for his former flame. This emotional moment highlights the unresolved feelings between these two characters who share a complex history spanning decades. Lucky's presence at the crash site was no coincidence. Earlier that fateful day, he had witnessed Kristina's distressed state at Charlie's pub, where she cryptically mentioned making a terrible mistake before hurrying away. Something in her demeanor prompted Lucky to follow her, a decision that would soon entangle him in a web of secrecy and moral dilemmas. The investigation into the crash has already begun, with Detective Dante Falconeri taking the lead. Security footage from the parking garage is being reviewed, and forensic teams are examining the damaged vehicle. As the evidence mounts, Kristina's involvement becomes increasingly difficult to conceal. Molly's mounting tragedies. The Davis girls had finally found their way back to each other. After months of estrangement, Kristina and Molly Lansing Davis had taken steps toward reconciliation, sharing a heartfelt conversation about forgiveness and sisterhood. This newfound peace between them makes the current situation all the more tragic. Molly has endured an overwhelming series of losses recently. The miscarriage of her baby left her emotionally devastated, leading to the collapse of her relationship with T.J. Ashford. The disappearance of her sister Sam McCall added another layer of grief to her already fragile state. Now, with her father Rick Lansing fighting for his life, Molly stands at a breaking point. The hospital waiting room has become Molly's temporary home as she anxiously awaits updates on her father's condition. Alexis Davis, despite her complicated history with Rick, has remained by her daughter's side, providing what comfort she can. Ironically, Kristina has also been present, offering support to the sister whose life she has unwittingly shattered. Kristina's fatal error. The roots of this tragedy can be traced back to Kristina's explosive confrontation with Ava Jerome. During their heated exchange at Ava's new apartment complex, Ava's callous remarks about Sonny's heart attack and Michael's third-degree burns pushed Kristina past her breaking point. Ava's deliberate taunting about how she withheld Sonny's medication during his medical emergency particularly enraged Kristina. Fueled by blind rage and a misguided desire to protect her family, Kristina made the fateful decision to sabotage what she believed was Ava's car. In the dimly lit parking garage, she methodically cut the brake lines, unaware that the vehicle belonged to Rick Lansing, who had parked in Ava's designated spot. This impulsive act of vengeance represents a disturbing escalation in Kristina's behavior. Throughout her life, she has struggled with impulse control and emotional regulation, but this crosses into criminal territory with potentially fatal consequences. Rick's uncertain future. The medical team, led by Dr. Britt Westbourne, has been working tirelessly to stabilize Rick's condition. Initial assessments indicate severe trauma to his spinal cord, particularly in the cervical region. The surgical team has already performed emergency procedures to relieve pressure on his spinal column, but the prognosis remains guarded. If Rick survives, he faces a challenging recovery path. The damage to his C4 and C5 vertebrae could result in quadriplegia, requiring extensive rehabilitation and permanent lifestyle adjustments. The once powerful attorney might find himself dependent on others for basic daily functions, a devastating prospect for someone who has always valued his independence and professional capabilities. More ominously, there's a significant possibility that Rick might not survive his injuries. The timing of his recent reconciliation with Alexis seems particularly foreboding, as soap operas often provide characters with moments of closure before their dramatic exits. Their truce, which surprised many Port Charles residents, may have been the writer's way of providing Rick with a measure of peace before his departure. Elizabeth's recovery journey. Elizabeth Baldwin, though also injured in the crash, appears to have fared better than Rick. Her injuries include a concussion, fractured ribs, and a dislocated shoulder, but she's expected to make a full physical recovery. The emotional trauma, however, will likely linger much longer. As a nurse at General Hospital, Elizabeth understands the medical aspects of the situation all too well. Her professional knowledge gives her a clear perspective on Rick's grim prognosis, adding another layer to her distress. Her determination to seek justice for the accident will become a driving force in the coming weeks. Elizabeth's children, Cameron, Jake, and Aiden, have been keeping vigil at the hospital, supported by their grandmother Audrey Hardy. The accident has brought Lucky back into their lives, reigniting possibilities for a family reunion under the most unfortunate circumstances. The conspiracy of silence. Lucky Spencer finds himself in an impossible position. His suspicions about Kristina's involvement in the crash have solidified into certainty, yet he hesitates to come forward with this information. His reasoning is complex, partly to protect Molly from further heartbreak, partly out of sympathy for Kristina, and partly due to his own complicated history with the law. As Elizabeth demands answers and justice, Lucky's silence weighs heavily on him. Each day that passes makes his eventual confession more damaging, both to his relationship with Elizabeth and to his own integrity. The secret forms an invisible barrier between them, even as they reconnect over their shared concern for her recovery. Kristina, meanwhile, is spiraling into paranoia and guilt. Her attempts to visit Elizabeth in the hospital are transparent efforts to gauge how much is known about the cause of the crash. Each police update sends her into a panic, and her erratic behavior has already drawn attention from her father, Sonny Corinthos. Port Charles ripple effects. The consequences of Kristina's actions extend far beyond the immediate victims. Sonny Corinthos, already dealing with health issues and business pressures, now faces the possibility that his daughter could be charged with attempted murder. His complex relationship with Rick, his half-brother and frequent adversary, adds another dimension to this family tragedy. Ava Jerome remains blissfully unaware that she was the intended target of Kristina's sabotage. Her continued antagonistic behavior toward the Corinthos family only increases the tension, as Kristina must now watch her enemy walk free while innocent people suffer the consequences of her actions. The legal ramifications loom large on the horizon. District Attorney Robert Scorpio has taken a personal interest in the case, suspecting that the brake failure was no accident. As the investigation progresses, the circle of knowledge widens, increasing the likelihood that Kristina's secret will eventually come to light. The coming weeks will test loyalties, challenge relationships, and forever alter the landscape of Port Charles. As Kristina and Lucky attempt to maintain their conspiracy of silence, the truth threatens to emerge with devastating consequences for everyone involved. The road ahead promises more drama, heartbreak, and possibly redemption for those caught in this tragic web of deceit and impulsive actions. Next, we will learn about the intricate web of relationships, rivalries, and potential dangers brewing in Port Charles. Our focus will be on the complex dynamics between Jack Brennan, Jason Morgan, and Carly Spencer, as well as the ripple effects their actions may have on the broader General Hospital community. The unexpected alliance and a surprising turn of events, Anna Devane has found herself increasingly involved in the affairs of Port Charles's most notorious figures. Her long-standing friendship with Jason Morgan has taken on new significance as tensions rise between Jason and the enigmatic Jack Brennan. Anna's investigative skills and intuition could prove crucial in unraveling the mysteries surrounding Brennan's true intentions. Anna's growing suspicions. As a former spy and current police commissioner, Anna has developed a keen sense for detecting hidden agendas. Her interactions with Brennan have left her with an uneasy feeling, prompting her to dig deeper into his background. Anna's research has uncovered some intriguing connections between Brennan and several unsolved cases from her past, hinting at a possible international dimension to his activities. Jason and Anna's covert operation. Recognizing the potential threat Brennan poses, Jason and Anna have quietly joined forces to monitor his movements and gather intelligence. Their clandestine meetings in secluded areas of Port Charles have not gone unnoticed, leading to speculation among other residents about the nature of their collaboration. The Valentine-Cassadine connection. The near-fatal encounter between Brennan and Valentine Cassadine has sent shockwaves through Port Charles's upper echelons. This incident has become a focal point for those trying to understand the extent of Brennan's ruthlessness and the potential dangers he presents to the community. Valentine's recovery and revelations. As Valentine recuperates from his brush with death, he has become an unexpected ally in the quest to expose Brennan's true nature. Through a series of flashbacks and cryptic conversations with his confidant Nina Reeves, Valentine has begun to piece together a disturbing picture of Brennan's past activities and global connections. The Cassadine family's involvement. The attack on Valentine has drawn the attention of other members of the Cassadine family, including the recently returned Nicholas Cassadine. The family's vast resources and network of informants have been mobilized to uncover any information that could shed light on Brennan's motives and potential weaknesses. Carly's dilemma. At the heart of this unfolding drama is Carly Spencer, whose actions and choices have inadvertently placed her at the center of a dangerous power struggle. Her relationship with Brennan and her enduring friendship with Jason have created a complex web of loyalties and potential betrayals. The weight of knowledge. Carly finds herself burdened by the information she shared with Brennan about Jason's threats. As she observes the escalating tension between the two men, she grapples with feelings of guilt and uncertainty. Her attempts to mediate the situation have only served to deepen the rift, leaving her torn between her growing feelings for Brennan and her loyalty to Jason. A journey of self-discovery. This conflict has prompted Carly to embark on a journey of self-reflection, questioning her past choices and the patterns in her relationships. Through conversations with her longtime friend Bobby Spencer and her daughter Jocelyn Jacks, Carly begins to confront the underlying issues that have led her to this precarious situation. The mob's growing interest. The power dynamics in Port Charles's underworld have been significantly altered by Brennan's arrival and his apparent interest in expanding his influence. This has not gone unnoticed by the established criminal elements in the city, leading to a series of clandestine meetings and shifting alliances. Sonny Corinthos' dilemma. As the reigning mob boss of Port Charles, Sonny Corinthos finds himself in a delicate position. His history with Jason and Carly complicates his approach to dealing with the Brennan situation. Sonny must carefully weigh the potential benefits of aligning with Brennan against the loyalty he feels towards his longtime friends and associates. New players emerge. The uncertainty surrounding Brennan's true intentions has created opportunities for ambitious individuals within the criminal underworld. Several minor players have begun jockeying for position, seeing a chance to increase their standing by either aligning with Brennan or working to undermine him. The hospital's involvement. General Hospital itself has become an unexpected battleground in the ongoing conflict. As tensions rise, the medical staff finds themselves increasingly drawn into the drama unfolding around them. Dr. Hamilton Finn's suspicions. The astute Dr. Hamilton Finn has noticed an uptick in patients with injuries consistent with mob violence. His concerns have led him to start his own discreet investigation, putting him on a collision course with the various factions vying for control of Port Charles. Elizabeth Weber's ethical dilemma. Nurse Elizabeth Weber's long history with Jason has placed her in a difficult position. As she becomes aware of the growing dangers surrounding her friend, she struggles with the ethical implications of withholding information from the hospital administration and law enforcement. As the conflict between Brennan and Jason intensifies, the entire city of Port Charles finds itself holding its collective breath. The atmosphere of uncertainty and potential violence has begun to affect every aspect of life in the community. The PCPD's increased vigilance. Police Commissioner Jordan Ashford has noticed the rising tensions and has quietly increased patrols in key areas of the city. Her efforts to maintain peace are complicated by her suspicions about Anna's involvement with Jason and her desire to avoid tipping off any of the involved parties. The ripple effect on local businesses. The Metro Court, long a central gathering place for Port Charles's movers and shakers, has seen a shift in its clientele as various factions seek neutral ground for their meetings. Owner Olivia Falconeri Quartermain finds herself walking a tightrope, trying to maintain the hotel's reputation while navigating the complex web of alliances and enmities among her patrons. As we conclude today's deep dive into the latest developments in Port Charles, it's clear that the stage is set for a dramatic confrontation. The actions of Jack Brennan, Jason Morgan, and Carly Spencer have set in motion a series of events that threaten to reshape the landscape of General Hospital. With alliances shifting, secrets emerging, and danger lurking around every corner, the residents of this tumultuous city brace themselves for the storms to come. Next, we will learn about the intriguing family connections of one of Port Charles's newest medical professionals and how his past might impact the future storylines on our beloved soap opera. Isaiah's relationship with RJ would be further strained because Isaiah's mother got caught in the crossfire for what RJ was involved with, and lost her life. The tragic circumstances surrounding her death created an irreparable rift between father and son that continues to this day. Isaiah carries this emotional burden silently through the halls of General Hospital, his colleagues unaware of the pain that drives his dedication to saving lives. His mother's senseless death occurred during what was supposed to be a routine business meeting that RJ had insisted she attend. When rival criminal elements targeted RJ, Isaiah's mother became collateral damage in a violent confrontation that left her mortally wounded. Isaiah, then a medical student, was unable to save her despite his desperate attempts, cementing his hatred toward his father and everything he represents. Isaiah would be devastated, and blame RJ for what happened to his mother. This devastating loss became the defining moment in Isaiah's life, transforming him from an idealistic young man into someone determined to counterbalance his father's destructive legacy. The guilt RJ feels about his wife's death has manifested in numerous attempts to reconnect with his son, including anonymous donations to medical causes Isaiah supports and even orchestrating certain patients to be transferred to General Hospital where Isaiah works. These manipulations only further infuriate Isaiah, who sees them as continued interference from a man who destroyed everything he loved. Their last confrontation occurred at Isaiah's medical school graduation, where RJ appeared unexpectedly, leading to a public argument that nearly cost Isaiah his residency placement. To this day, Isaiah would refuse to speak to RJ and get involved in his life. This complete estrangement has become Isaiah's protective mechanism, a wall he's built to separate himself from the criminal world that claimed his mother. Isaiah has gone so far as to change his phone number multiple times and relocate without notice whenever he suspects RJ has discovered his whereabouts. The psychological toll of constantly looking over his shoulder has affected Isaiah's ability to form lasting relationships, contributing to his somewhat aloof demeanor with colleagues at General Hospital. His friendship with Jordan Ashford has been one of the few exceptions, perhaps because her law enforcement background makes him feel safer. RJ wants his son to follow in his footsteps, but Isaiah chose to do some good in the world and go to medical school. The dichotomy between father and son couldn't be more pronounced. RJ builds his empire through exploitation and fear, while Isaiah dedicates himself to healing and compassion. RJ has never understood his son's rejection of the wealth and power he offers, viewing Isaiah's career choice as a personal rebuke rather than a noble calling. In private moments, RJ keeps a collection of newspaper clippings about Isaiah's medical achievements, a bittersweet reminder of the relationship he destroyed through his criminal activities. Meanwhile, Isaiah has developed a specialty in trauma surgery, subconsciously choosing a field where he can repeatedly attempt to save victims like his mother. RJ's involvement in Isaiah's life would have been minimal, and Isaiah would hold a lot of resentment towards his father. Throughout Isaiah's childhood, RJ was an inconsistent presence at best, appearing with lavish gifts and grand promises only to disappear for months when business called. These sporadic visits created a confusing dynamic for young Isaiah, who simultaneously craved his father's approval while witnessing his mother's distress whenever RJ returned. The pattern of abandonment established during these formative years has manifested in Isaiah's adult relationships, particularly his reluctance to commit romantically despite several promising connections with women in Port Charles. His colleagues have noticed this pattern but remain unaware of its origins in his complicated family history.